Happy Tuesday evening. Welcome to Nightly Scroll, everyone, and happy Election Day. If you are watching this show right now and there is an election going on in your state, in your community, I give you permission to watch Nightly Scroll later. Go vote. Results are going to start coming in around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. However, polls close in these key states at 9 p.m. Eastern Time in New York. So if you are in New York and you have not voted yet, get up and go. 8 p.m. Eastern Time in New Jersey. If you haven't voted yet, get up and go, especially if you're a Republican. 7 p.m. Eastern Time in Virginia. If you haven't voted yet, get up and go. Go right now. Bring a friend or two or three with you. Call a friend. Urge your friends to vote. If you don't vote and then you complain about the outcome, you don't have any legs to stand on. And if you are in line and the polls are closing, do not leave the line until you cast your vote. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the Bongino Report channel. Rumble.com/Hayley is where you can watch Nightly Scroll in full. You might be watching on X or on Facebook, but you're going to get cut off. So you got to come over to Rumble, scroll with all my homies in the chat. And if you can't catch us at 6 p.m. Eastern Time because you're voting, that's okay. You can watch later. And I give you full permission to watch later. And of course, you can always listen on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your shows. I'm grateful for everyone who watches. Subscribe. Tell a friend, share the link. It all helps. So what do we have on the show tonight? I'm going to get into these key races to look at tonight. And of course, we'll get into the results tomorrow. Nancy Pelosi put on her nasty woman hat in an interview on CNN where she had some not so nice things to say about POTUS. Also, Marjorie Taylor Greene joined The View this morning. It was her View debut. And I will play some highlights and get into what this means for her political future. Also, a woman has gone viral after she confronted a man in the woman's locker room at Gold's Gym. Of course, this is a man who's pretending to be a woman, pretending to be, a trans woman. It is not the first time that it's happened, but she is the one facing repercussions, kicked out of Gold's Gym, not the man infiltrating women's spaces. Also, former Secret Service agent and Silverlock contributor Scott Bryson joins me for tactical detail earlier in the week, this week. So keep you on your toes. Put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. Races to look at today. We've got two gubernatorial races, one in New Jersey, of course, with Republican Jack Ciattarelli and Democrat Mikey Sherrill. And the current governor, Phil Murphy there, a Democrat. He's at the end of his term, so no incumbent to run against. Same situation in Virginia. Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin is term limited, so the hotly contested race is between Democrat Abigail Spanberger versus Republican candidate and the current Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Winsome Earl Sears, who's a total badass, by the way. I love Winsome Sears. And there are two congressional special elections, one in Texas's 18th district and Tennessee's 7th. The narrow House majority is at stake. Every seat counts. There's also a Supreme Court seat up for grabs in Pennsylvania. It's the left-leaning. It is a liberal-leaning Supreme Court there. So again, this matters. Also, there are 4 candidates on the ballot in Georgia today for the Public Service Commission, which regulates Georgia's power and utilities. So if your power bill means anything to you in Georgia, then pay attention to these lesser talked about elections. They all matter. And of course, the New York City mayoral race has gotten a lot of attention between socialist Zohran Mamdani, independent, air quotes if you're listening, air quotes, independent Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Lewa. It is looking like the Big Apple might be shaking things up with the fresh-faced Nepo baby, not to be confused with the older Nepo baby, Andrew Cuomo. Starting off the election coverage on a high note, last night this video went viral of Jack Ciattarelli's son, Jake, surprising him at his campaign event last night at Murph's Tavern, except Jake is an Army officer who was stationed in Kuwait, but he made it back to New Jersey. Watch this. A nice embrace. I absolutely love like a soldier coming home video. There is nothing better. Nothing better. Soldiers coming home. USA chant. It's patriotism on display. Notice how the children of the Republican candidates are just upstanding citizens, upstanding members of society. But Election Day in New Jersey was off to a hot start with bomb threats at multiple polling locations. The threats were sent to Bergen County, Essex County, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, and Passaic counties. And in a social media post, the Attorney General, Matthew Platkin, said this: voters should continue to have confidence that they can cast their ballot without fear or intimidation, and we will continue to work tirelessly to ensure a free, fair, and secure election. Make no mistake, we will not tolerate any attempts to interfere with our elections, and we will swiftly hold accountable anyone who seeks to interfere with the safety or security of our electoral process. But that's not all. According to Scott Presler, who's working with the RNC, everyone knows Scott Presler now. He's a household name in the Republican Party, but people know him for the long hair and everything, but he should be better known for all the hard work that he does to get out the vote on the Republican side. And he was sounding the alarm earlier today, and people were reaching out to him in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, all over, saying that there were issues at voting locations. Some voters in New Jersey were apparently turned away after poll workers claimed they weren't in the system. To which Scott Presler replied, ask for a provisional ballot. I know we're later in election night, so you might have already cast your vote today, or you might have already ran into an issue like this, but ask for a provisional ballot. It is your right. If a voting machine is down, you can still vote. It is your right to vote as a citizen. Do not let anyone tell you that you can't. Scott Presler also reported that in Chester County, Pennsylvania, they were running out of provisional ballots and turning voters away. This is around 3 p.m. Eastern time today. You're running out of ballots? Really? But Scott Presler reassured his followers that lawyers were called immediately. They've got affidavits and reinforcements on the way, so this will surely be taken care of. If it's not taken care of today, it's getting taken care of in the courts, and hopefully this will not interfere with the outcomes of any elections. But of course, with multiple obstacles popping up on Election Day, whether it's a bomb threat or something else, who Democrats are going to blame? Trump. So here is New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani blaming Trump for the bomb threat in New Jersey. Listen to this.
Incredibly concerning. And I think that it is an illustration of the attacks we're seeing on our democracy. Sometimes they're blatant and explicit in the manner of these bomb threats. And we have to understand this as part of the general approach the Trump administration has taken to trying to intimidate voters with baseless allegations of voter fraud as a means of trying to repress the voice of Americans across this country.
I don't know if he's going to get that question again today, but the general approach to the Trump administration.
I don't understand. How has the Trump administration intimidated voters? Can anyone give me an answer on that? Like a real answer? I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. The Trump administration maybe wanting people to show ID and to be actual citizens of the country that they're voting in. I don't know how else, or what else were they saying? This was like earlier in the year when they were saying that women who are married are not going to be able to vote because if they didn't change their last name. I mean, are these the reasons that they're coming up with for the Trump administration, intimidating people? I don't know what they're talking about. But all this is a socialist candidate throwing out as many buzzwords as he possibly can before the polls close. Oh, Trump's threatening democracy. Ding, 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 ding. He's just feeding these people exactly what they want to hear. And so is Cuomo, for that matter. Of course, Andrew Cuomo, the former embattled governor of New York, running for the mayor now. And everyone in New York does not like Cuomo for a lot of different reasons, but certainly because of how he handled the COVID-19 pandemic and basically forcing sick elderly people into nursing homes where they all died. So here is Cuomo officially apologizing for that nursing home debacle. Watch this.
Worst. Nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice.
Who?
We
Fauci?
followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance. And people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors allowed into nursing homes. And I apologize for any family that lost a loved one during that time. It was on my watch. And I understand how terrible it was.
Yeah, we really were first and worst. I remember calling my family down in South Carolina saying, Mom and Dad, do not go to that party. You don't understand what's happening here. Y'all need to stay away from your friends right now and stay at home. People are losing their loved ones. My doormen, many of them lost like their dad, their mom. It was really sad. Janice Dean lost both of her in-laws because of the nursing home situation. It was a really hard time for New York, and we were the first. What do you say to the people who can't afford to pay their bills here in New York, Governor? Because we know how Mom Donnie feels about the billionaires. She was just asking about the nursing home, our police officers, about the Jewish community. Many of them are voting for you because
it was just, it was on his watch. I'm sorry about that, but it doesn't matter. The apology, it's just falling on deaf ears. It's a total lost cause. White liberal women hate Cuomo because of the Me Too stuff. He's a total creep. He's also a Nepo baby like Mamdani, except he has half the personality. Republicans and independents do not like Cuomo. If he gets any votes from those two groups, it's because they are anti-Mamdani votes from people who probably wanted to vote for Curtis Lewa, but knew that he didn't have a shot. But they don't actually like Andrew Cuomo or any of his policies. Anyone who lost a loved one in the nursing homes during COVID in New York is not voting for Cuomo, whether he apologizes or not. And anyone who lost their jobs due to his vaccine mandates, they're not going to want to vote for Cuomo either. I was living and working in New York City at the time. I didn't want to get vaccinated. I couldn't go to a bar. I couldn't go to a restaurant. Thankfully, I was working at Newsmax at the time. And they said, no, if you don't want to get vaccinated, you don't have to. If the state comes and asks us and fines us, that is fine. We will deal with the fines. Like, no one is getting this if you don't want to. I am eternally grateful for that. Seriously, like, I feel like my life depended on it. We have so many, I've talked about these stories, horrific stories on this show. I've had guests on this show who were injured by the vaccine. I'm so grateful that I didn't have to get it. But that was Cuomo's New York. That was Cuomo. That was de Blasio. That was all of them. So this is his legacy. He can't get away from that. An apology is not good enough. And nothing is going to make fetch happen for him. And certainly not whatever his daughter was trying to do last night. Watch this.
How you guys came up with that?
Cool Girls for Capitalism. That was the event that they were at. Cool Girls for Capitalism. I've also seen Hot Girls for Cuomo. I've seen Hot Boys for Mamdani. Like, what is going on here? This is like so 2025 coded in such a just crazy way. I can't believe the world we're living in. But yeah. Cool Girls for Capitalism. Okay. And no FOMO, vote Cuomo. This is all so gay. Like, it's just so insanely stupid. I hate when politicians do stuff like this. And I know that this wasn't Cuomo. This was his daughter. But still, if you're not good at this kind of thing, if you're not personable, if you're not good at social media, don't try. It's cringe. It's just really, really cringe. But anyway, President Trump urged voters in New York to support Cuomo over the Republican candidate Curtis Lewa. So watch this. This is what he had to say on Truth Social. He said, if communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than that very minimum as required to my beloved first home because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. It can even get worse. It could only get worse with the communists at the helm. And I don't want to send, as president, good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation, and it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. His principles have been tested for over 1,000 years, and never once have they been successful. I would much rather see a Democrat who has had a record of success win. This is like a desperate plea. Record of success. Okay. Than a communist with no experience and a record of complete and total failure. He was nothing as an assemblyman, ranked at the bottom of the class, and as mayor of potentially, again, the greatest city in the world, he has no chance to bring it back to his former glory. I agree. We must also remember this. A vote for Curtis Lewa, who looks much better without the beret, is a vote for Mamdani. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. All right. So President Trump, he has made the decision to not only endorse Andrew Cuomo, but to urge Republicans to ditch the beret-wearing Curtis Sliwa, who would be a wonderful option for New York. I know that he doesn't have a shot, but my God, this man loves this city. Anyway, it's a real shame. But Cuomo is Trump's pick, and Andrew Cuomo did a radio show and was asked about Trump's endorsement. This is what he had to say. Well, he really had nothing to say. Maybe Curtis Sliwa's cats caught his tongue. Watch this.
Your boy was just on 60 Minutes, Cuomo, saying that you're his guy.
Your boy.
No. First of
Trump said you're his candidate. If he had to pick a bad Democrat or what did he say? Or a communist. Or a communist, he's picking you.
Crickets.
Hello?
Oh.
I think that they cut him off. I think he had to rap.
You just get, oh. I really wanted to hear that answer. That's what I was going to ask you.
Ebro just got spicy.
Oh.
I heard a click before the boop.
Wow. Okay.
We thought he hung up. He called management saying that we ambushed him and hung up on him.
That is not true.
You were in the middle of a conversation. You were talking specifically about a subject mid-sentence. Why would you hang up mid-sentence?
Ambush is a lot. Like if you're running for the biggest city in the world, you know, the toughest city, you're not going to be able, you can't handle a little smoke.
My goodness. No answer. And honestly, Cuomo is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Because if Cuomo comes out and says, I don't accept this endorsement, I don't want Trump, I mean, he's going to be screwed if he wins and then he needs Trump. So Cuomo knows how badly he needs to have Trump in his back pocket and to not be on his bad side. But then again, if Cuomo wants to win the Democrat primary, he lost the Democrat primary. If he wants to win the election as a Democrat up against Zohran Mamdani, Cuomo should have said, F you Trump if he wanted to really win and then deal with the consequences later. But yeah, I mean, totally damned if he does, damned if he doesn't kind of a moment. I think Mamdani said something along the lines of, yeah, like, congratulations on your endorsement. You worked really hard for that one. Something like that. Again, basically President Trump just handed the election to Mamdani. Again, like there's really, at this point, there's nothing that can be done, in my opinion. Well, the polls are still open, so we will see. We can only hope, but it sounds crazy to say that I want Cuomo to win. I don't want Cuomo to win. I want Curtis Sliwa to win. There's no shot. It's just bad. It's all around really bad and depressing. So we'll table that for now, and then we'll get back to it tomorrow when we have some more details. But former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, did an interview with CNN, and she didn't mince any words when it came to her feelings on President Trump. Watch this.
It's just a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth. But anyway.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do, yeah. I do.
Why is that?
Because he's the President of the United States and he does not honor the Constitution of the United States.
I know you said you won't talk about your future until after Prop 50, but there is speculation about what you're going to do next.
Well, first of all, when people start, as in the press, speculating, is she going to run, is she not going to run, other people file or say they're going to run, you know what that does? That gives me so much support. I have no doubt that if I decided to run, I would win. That isn't even a question. It isn't arrogant. It's competent. I know my district. I live here. I'm with them much of the time. They've given me the latitude when I was speaker and leader to be around the country and around the world, and I'm grateful to them for that. But I'd always keep the home fires burning, as I have always done. So for me, it's just a question of one thing, winning the House for the Democrats. And that's what we're doing with Proposition 50. It's the first step. And then we go from there to winning. And
the whole point here is that out the gate, Nancy Pelosi calls President Trump a vile human being, the most vile person on the planet. That's bold, coming from someone who looks like a melted Madame Tussauds whack figure. Like literally a vile human, the most vile human on the face of the planet. Okay. Anyway, I thought it was interesting when she was asked about her future and she gave that roundabout nothing answer about, well, I'm not going to say yes, and I'm also not going to say no, and I'm also not going to say maybe. I'm just going to talk about Proposition 50 and winning back the House. But some Democrats, lots of Democrats, are speculating that Nancy Pelosi is going to retire and she's not going to seek re-election. You know what's crazy? She is 85 years old. Could you imagine being 85 years old and people speculating whether or not you're going to retire soon? Like, why is that still up for debate? Retire. You should have retired 2 decades ago with everybody else. 85 years old and people are like, will she? Won't she? Will she? Won't she? Go home, pack it up. You're done. 85 years old. If she ran again, which I really don't think she will, but if she ran again at 85 years old and she says, like, I'm confident that I would win, what the hell is wrong with her constituents? Why would you put someone in office who's going to be 90 years old? You should not have a 9 in front of your age and run for office. You should not have a 9 in front of your age and still be working. You are not supposed to die in office. I don't want that for anybody. You're not supposed to die. You're just not. Unless something very tragic happens, this is not supposed to happen. You are not supposed to do this womb to tomb thing where you're 90 years old and you're still working. It's insanity. All right, speaking of the House, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was on The View today. She made her debut there. And she was talking about this government shutdown and how she is not taking a paycheck. I respect it. Watch this.
Here's something you all may not know about me. I think a lot of people on the left are learning that when I ran for Congress in 2020, I ran criticizing Republicans and Democrats equally because I come from a working class family, ran a construction company for over 20 years, and I feel like the government has failed all of us. And it purely disgusts me. It really does. And I represent a district that is rural, manufacturing district, blue-collar workers, and people have been crushed by decades of failure in Washington, D.C. And so I have no problem pointing fingers at everyone. And the worst thing that I just can't get over is we're not working right now. And I put that criticism directly on the Speaker of the House. And we should be at work. All the people sitting in this audience, they go to work every day. People at home watching this show, they go to work every day. Ladies, you go to work every day. The people on your set, and it is an embarrassment to me that we're not in session.
And getting paid.
I'm not taking a paycheck.
Good for you. Exactly.
I'm not taking a paycheck.
Exactly. Good for you. Exactly. I think you're one of the only ones. Well,
so I respect the fact that she's not taking a paycheck. If there are American citizens who are working, they're government workers, federal workers, and they are not getting paid.
You know who else isn't getting paid? Who they have been very not nice to. Donald Trump.
Right.
Has not collected a paycheck for whatever 5.5 years of presidency.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Where's the audience applause for him?
Oh, yeah. Well, when pigs fly. When pigs frickin' fly. But no, I think that this is respectable. Obviously, I think it's respectable that President Trump doesn't take a salary, a presidential salary, which I think is like $400,000, something like that. But yeah, I think that that's very respectable. But I also think that you have to lead by example. And if you know that there are American citizens and even your own constituents that aren't getting a paycheck because of your own stupidity, and I'm not saying Marjorie Taylor Greene specifically, I'm just saying all these members of the House. What I don't understand, and the Senate, what I don't understand is they know when the deadline is happening. And they push the deadline, push it. We're past the deadline. How many days has the government been closed now? We're over 2 weeks now. It just doesn't make sense that they don't get things done by a deadline. You know when it's going to happen. Don't let the government shut down. I just don't understand that. So someone in the chat said, pigs did fly. She flew to Ireland. Speaking about Rosie O'Donnell. That's very funny. But this was a very friendly interview with The View. I was not really expecting it to go this way. She had said that, she didn't want to make this like a contentious fight kind of a thing, which Marjorie Taylor Greene has been known to do. I mean, she really will go at it with AOC and Jasmine Crockett and people like that on the other side of the aisle. But this was very, very friendly. And she was kind of like positioning herself as this moderate where, I'm Republican, but I call out Republicans and I also call out Democrats and the government's failing us and blah, blah, blah. So I wonder why she's positioning herself as this moderate figure. Is she worried about winning re-election? Is she positioning herself for maybe something in 2028? I mean, I don't know. Is she trying to maybe not seem like this right-wing firebrand so that she's a candidate for maybe a cabinet position or something else? Makes you think. But this next clip cracked me up because this is Joy Behar telling Marjorie Taylor Greene to become a Democrat. Watch this.
Oh, no, nothing has changed about me. I am staying absolutely 100% true to the people that voted for me and true to my district. And I am so angry when I drive around my district to all these beautiful little rural small towns. And there's manufacturing plants that are crumbling from decades of lost industry, small businesses that got shuttered during COVID lockdowns and COVID shutdowns. And you want to know something else, Whippy? So many veterans that went over and had to fight in some war that really had nothing to do with where they were from or their hometown, and their lives and families' lives have been so affected. So for me, I am unapologetically America first, and I'll do anything I can to work hard to save
Maybe you
this
should
country.
become a Democrat, Marjorie.
No, I'm not a Democrat.
What?
You want to know something? I'll say this. I think both parties have failed.
Well, both parties have failed. I will say that. And that's like a easy cop-out answer where, if someone's telling you to become a Democrat, and of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not going to be a Democrat anytime soon. She's one of the further right people in Congress. And I love her for that. I think it's great. We need people like that. But I thought it was funny how she says, I'm unapologetically America first. I want to help people here at home. I want to help the farmers and the blue collar workers in my state. And I want to, stop sending all this money, all this taxpayer money to fund foreign wars. And Joy Behar says, oh, you should be a Democrat? What? Is that what Joy Behar thinks the Democrat Party stands for? Marjorie Taylor Greene literally laid out the Republican policy, like what the Republican Party stands for. And Joy Behar's like, I don't know how you make those mental gymnastics work. But speaking of gymnastics, that's my attempt at a really bad segue. But this woman, Tish Hyman, she's a California-based artist. And she has launched now a petition to protect women's-only spaces nationwide, urging legislation in all 50 states after her experience with a trans woman, a man, in the locker room at Gold's Gym. Watch this.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room! And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know. The fuck? Everybody saw that man in the fucking locker room. No one's saying shit. And I'm fucking done with it. It's fucking stupid. It's dangerous. Me naked in front of a man without my permission. But I ain't the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room.
So yes, she has been terminated, and she went on Instagram and said that multiple women had experienced this, and multiple women at this location, this Gold's Gym location, have written reports up on this man for coming into the locker room, harassing us. That's what she says, harassing us, and basically claiming that the gym staff has done absolutely nothing. And I will say that this isn't necessarily on the gym because this is in California where state law says that you can't discriminate against trans stuff. This is why this ideology is a problem. It permeates all this legislation in these blue states. This is why this is a problem. It's a nationwide problem. And, President Trump signed an executive order on the first day in office declaring that, men are men and women are women. But then again, you have these states that are just going absolutely rogue, doing whatever they want, pushing this woke indoctrination, this woke legislation that protects mentally ill men over women. That is the problem, because this gym has to operate under state law. So if the state law says that, then they can't do anything. But the problem is, where they went wrong is terminating the woman complaining how she feels unsafe and not doing anything to the trans man that is harassing people. This woman, Tish, says that this guy has harassed her multiple times in the locker room. Not just once, multiple times. And she says that she's been ignored. So she felt like, today when she posted that video or when she made this scene, she was like forced to this point. This was the boiling point for her. So anyway, this is part 2. She went on Instagram and explained on her live that she's going to start paying attention. This is a woman who voted for Kamala Harris, and she's maybe rethinking that. Watch.
Today, my gym membership was officially terminated by Gold/EOS Gym. And guess what happened on my final workout? A fucking trans woman walked in while I was butt naked. I grabbed my towel. I fucking showed discomfort. And she looked at me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Actually, I'm not." Women have no fucking idea what they're up against in there. They're just going to the gym. I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat either. I voted Kamala, yes. I do music, I don't do politics. I voted for Kamala because she's black. I'm not afraid to say it. I voted for Kamala because she's black and, whatever. And I guess, that's a lesson in itself because you know what? We got to start paying attention to the politics, y'all. Because the things that we haven't voted for, the things that I could have voted for probably when I was in my 20s and my 30s are now kicking me in the ass.
This is a woman who voted for Kamala Harris, admittedly, because she's black. Not because she was paying attention to the policies or lack thereof that Kamala and other Democrat candidates were pushing. We knew this, but now she's paying attention, and I don't blame her. I truly feel sorry for her that she had to feel uncomfortable in a locker room multiple times. This is horrific. Women should be able to undress and feel safe in a space that is meant for them, not men who feel entitled to view women undressing where they're supposed to feel comfortable. It is wrong. It is disgusting. And sometimes a wake-up call like this is what it takes to get someone to pay attention. This is a lesson learned, right? So maybe she will vote differently next time, knowing that Democrats say they protect women while doing the opposite. All right, I've got Scott Bryson on deck for tactical detail, but first, I'm going to tell you about our sponsors for tonight's show. First up is Beam. I absolutely love Beam, guys. They sent me stuff to try, and it is so freaking good. If you like a sweet treat at night, if you like a little like tea or hot chocolate, this is like hot chocolate. They have chocolate flavors, like chocolate peanut butter flavors. Oh my gosh, so good. And it helps you fall asleep. So Beam's cyber sale is open now for early access for my listeners, and it is their best offer of the year. Right now, the homies get 50% off with my code SCROLL. You can grab Dream for just $32.50. That breaks down to only $1.08 per night for the best sleep of your life. So go to shopbeam.com/scroll and use code SCROLL and don't miss out. This is the lowest price Dream has ever been sold anywhere, and it will likely sell out quickly. Dream is packed with ingredients your body actually needs to sleep. Reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and yes, even melatonin, but dosed intelligently, not like the drugstore garbage that knocks you out and leaves you groggy. So now is the time. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount. Go to shopbeam.com/scroll and use code SCROLL and get 50% off during Beam's cyber sale. You can grab Dream by Beam for just $32.50. But here's the catch. Dream is only available at this price until it sells out. So seriously, think about it. How much would you pay for a truly great night of sleep? With Beam's cyber price, it is just $1.08 per night. Go to shopbeam.com/scroll and try Beam today. Also want to tell you about Genucel. Thanksgiving is a couple weeks away, ladies and gentlemen. There is still time to get rid of the turkey neck and sagging neckline and get compliments all around the dinner table. So if you haven't tried Genucel's breakthrough neckline lift with MDL technology, then pick up the phone or go to Genucel.com right now. Order today, and Genucel will include their immediate effects for results you can see in just 12 hours. And for Thanksgiving, Genucel's offer gets even better. You can get the top-selling Genucel Deep Firming Vitamin C Serum included in the Essentials package. You'll give thanks this holiday for 10 years off your appearance, and everyone will see the difference, guaranteed, or 100% of your money back. That is the Genucel promise. Go to Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll. And from now until Thanksgiving, you will also get their brand new Gua Sha massager with red light therapy to help amplify your results. And shipping is also free. Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll. And with that, I've got former Secret Service agent and host of the Beyond the Service podcast, Silverlock contributor Scott Bryson here for Tactical Detail. Hey, Scott, how are you? Thanks so much for joining me. Obviously, I love this segment every week. We've gone through a lot of these great videos, and the first one is a grocery cart, shopping cart. This is a parking lot situation, a reminder to always stay alert. Watch this. So here's a woman. She's in her car, and this guy basically throws a shopping cart, and it hits the back of her car as she's trying to pull out. And she's backing up, realizing that, oh, I just hit something. There's a shopping cart there. Here's her first mistake. Here she's going to get out. She realizes that she's hit something. She says, oh, okay, she gets out. This is the crazy part. She leaves the door wide open. Door's unlocked, car's unlocked, and she's going to go move the shopping cart. And this guy was hiding out under the truck next to her. He goes into the car, grabs her bag, runs away with her bag, and goes back under the truck. Scott, what did she do wrong?
Not good, bless her heart. Listen, I know you can't always control when you have to go shopping. Try, ladies, try to do it in the daylight. We're going to show a couple of videos tonight that it's imperative to try to do things in the daylight. I know that's not always possible. When you do have to go out at night, the first thing you do, ladies and gentlemen, lock your doors immediately. I do videos on this all the time. The first thing you have to do is lock your door. She gets out of the car, which was mistake. Well, mistake number one was not locking the car as soon as she got in. Mistake number two is getting out. And she's very lucky that this guy was a petty theft after a bag instead of a rapist or a sex trafficker. At the end of that video, it kind of cuts off, so we don't really know how it plays out. But a big panel van also pulls out, and to me, it looked like they might have been in on it. I don't know. I hope everything turned out well for her. But you've already made contact with the buggy and you've pushed it about 8 or 10 feet. Just push it 2 more feet and get out of there. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. You know, it's scary because to your point, you know, she gets out of the car, she leaves the door open. But even if she got out of the car and locked the car door right away and then went to move the shopping cart and move it somewhere else, she's still now giving that guy who clearly wants to do harm to her more time to get closer to her vehicle, get closer to her, and do whatever he was going to do. I mean, maybe in that moment he says, oh, shoot, her car door's locked. I can't steal her purse. I'll just kill her or something else. I mean, who knows? Like, this is someone who clearly doesn't have good intentions.
Yeah. No, it's the bottom line is these guys, these predators, they prey on the most vulnerable. Whether it's an older person, whether it's a female or a smaller man, they're cowards. But it doesn't matter that they're cowards because they have evil intent. And we have got to do our very best to negate that.
Yeah, it's really scary. And I see all these things about their like human trafficking, things about, and it all takes place in a parking lot. It's always in a parking lot. It's, oh, there's a there's a dollar bill by your tire or a note left on your windshield or something. And it's just like, okay, just get in your car, lock your doors, drive away. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the note says. You don't need the dollar bill. Like, just get in your car and go. But it's always a good reminder, because I think our instinct is to, let me pick that up, so yeah. It's smart. But this next video is also crazy, and it goes to show just how bad these policies are in California. This takes place in California. Here's a guy that was caught outside a woman's house. Watch this.
Woke up, saw the man, actually woke up, person I live with, my roommate, saw the man, and came upstairs, said, oh my God, there's a man in our backyard. Called 911, they show up, they go back there, they handcuff him, they take him outside, the cop comes back, and he tells us basically that there can be a trespassing citation that's put against him, but there is nothing else that can be done. And when my cousin goes to leave for work, she sees the man posted up on the fucking curb, no police to be found, 4 houses down. Come to find out, he has been arrested 193 times already. For burglary, for aggravated assault, for I think it was assault for a deadly weapon. I don't even know. I blacked out when I heard 193. 193 times this man has been arrested. There is no reason that laws should be set up that give more rights to somebody who has that many arrests found in somebody's backyard dressed like a fucking criminal. Who knows what was in his fucking backpack, if there were weapons or even tools to get in. Who knows? And since I just feel like being political is what I want to really end this video with, I want to make it very clear that I was told it's specifically legislation that has been put in place over the last 2 years within California. So, you do the math yourself on who was in charge of California the last 2 years.
And that's the guy. This is the guy that was in her backyard. He was sleeping in her backyard and claimed, she called the cops. Hey, there's this guy sleeping in my backyard. Can you come grab him? And they go back there, they question him, and he says, oh, I was just back here grilling vegetables. And they're like, you don't live here. You're high on drugs. They take him out, but they don't arrest him. They don't arrest him. And again, he's had 193 prior arrests, but this time they didn't arrest him. They just let him go. They dropped him off 4 houses down. What?
Yeah. Well, here's the problem, and she's not wrong. She should be very upset. I certainly would be. Here's the problem. It's like your gym analogy. The cops are only allowed to do what the law states. So the problem is these elections have consequences. We have got to vote in the right DAs, the right city councils, the right Congress, the right Senate. Everything's got to be done right. Otherwise, this is what you get. You get these liberal cities and these liberal states, and these are the consequences. She's very lucky that nothing bad happened, because the guy was high as a kite, and God only knows. I mean, he said he was hallucinating. I mean, we didn't show that, but that's what he said. And God only knows what he could have done. His intentions weren't good. He was dressed in all black. And one of the other things that really frustrated me too, I think, what didn't show in this clip necessarily, but she said at the beginning of that thing, the cops asked her, did they want her to get him to leave? I'm like, yeah, that's why I called you, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's talk about passive and just, I don't know, the police officers out there are handicapped in large, but largely because of the city council and the lawmakers don't do their jobs. But you also have to hire good cops too. You have to have some alphas out there. And these guys, and I hate to nitpick what the cop was doing, but they looked like they were a little touchy-feely with him. We just do things a little differently down here. The police officer's gun was right there, and the guy's the whole way that the guy got arrested. I could dissect that too. I know that's not what we're talking about. It was very gentle. There's a time and a place for everything, and that whole thing stunk.
You're saying that the criminal could have grabbed the cop's gun potentially? I
think so. I mean, there were 2 cops that kind of had him, sandwiched in there, but they were being very gentle with him. And the police officer on the left side of the screen, his gun was right there at the guy's waist. I mean, if the guy was a real badass, he could have thrown some jujitsu on him or something and taken the gun. It was very passive. I couldn't stand watching it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just scary to think that just a few days later, this woman saw the same guy in her neighborhood 4 houses down. That tells me that he wants to do something to someone in that neighborhood, and he's hanging around for a reason, and clearly he doesn't have the greatest rap sheet. So this is definitely concerning. And she even said that he had juice on him and that he put the juice on the windowsill. So she was thinking that maybe he was trying to enter the home, like put his drink down to then try to get into the window. Maybe he couldn't get into the window and then he just fell asleep in the backyard. I mean, that's best case scenario, but who knows what he's gonna, he was just let off and he can roam around the neighborhood to do it again. So who knows if he'll just come back and try to do the same thing. It would make me very concerned. But this next video is, I don't run outside anymore, but I used to. I did in college quite a bit. And after college, when I was living in New York City, I would run outside, not at night, not in the dark, but this woman, and, depending on people's work schedules, some people have to work out very early in the morning. This woman was running at 4:30 in the morning and she heard some Christmas music. Watch this.
I know I'm not crazy. There's a man behind me. There's Christmas music playing, and there's a man behind me. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, so running at 4:30 in the morning in the pitch black, and then you hear Christmas music blaring, and there's a man behind you. Again, this is something out of a horror movie. I hate to say that women shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that. I mean, it's just sad that we live in a world where you have to say, well, don't run in the dark, or don't run alone, or you should be able to do these things, but because of the world we live in, you can't.
Yeah. No, that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, you're not wrong. She should be able to do anything she wants to do any time of the day as long as it's legal, right? Which running is definitely legal. The problem is we live in a very nasty world. And at 4:30 in the morning, she was already pretty sweaty. So that tells me she'd been out there probably 15, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know. She was already pretty sweaty. So she was probably out there at 4 in the morning, which is super early. But whether it's 4 in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, it's dark. And these dudes do these things under the cover of darkness. The good news is she was somewhat in condition yellow, I suppose. We haven't talked about that tonight yet. The color codes of awareness are very important. She was not in condition white, which is good. She heard the music. That's weird. And then she looked around and saw a dude. The only thing I would maybe say, and I don't like to armchair quarterback people because I've been a cop for 30 years, and I know we're getting ready to do a video on that, and I don't like to armchair quarterback people, but maybe the only thing that she could have done additionally was just call him out and say, hey, dude, I see you. I'm videoing you. She could have also perhaps, instead of, continuing the video, which was fine. I don't really have a problem with that. Her brain's probably going super fast. Maybe go ahead and get on 911 right now. I don't know all the features of the phone. I think if you start calling 911, your video probably turns off. I don't know how that works, but I would probably start calling out 911 right now. Yeah. And that's why I always harp on this whether you're a man or a woman, and it doesn't even have to be something dire like this. You need to know where you are. Like, what if your car breaks down? Well, I'm on Interstate 85. Okay, great. Are you going southbound or northbound? What's your nearest mile marker? You need to know where these cross streets are. So my advice to your audience is, if you're out here running, even a grown man, when I'm running, I don't run much anymore, but when I used to run, I would know where my cross streets are. I'm on Cabarrus Avenue at 4th Street. So God forbid, if I need the cops, I can get them vectored in quick.
Yeah, it's very smart. It's good advice to absolutely know your surroundings and be aware. And she was aware, right? She was aware that there was a man behind her. In a lot of situations when you're running, you have AirPods in or whatever, you're listening to music. Maybe you're not as alert as you should be. And again, you should be alert if you're running on the street. I mean, with cars and other obstacles that could get in your way. I mean, clearly you have to be alert, but you don't know what's happening behind you. So it's good to have maybe just one AirPod in, right? To then be able to hear your surroundings, or maybe not have it on so loud, but everyone's got noise canceling headphones on now. Everyone wants to take a video of something, which is good and bad. Like, part of me thinks, to your point, call 911. If you're going to have your phone out and you feel unsafe, get 911 typed out and have your phone, your thumb on the green button, right? But part of me feels like it's also good to have footage of these things as well, because this is something that potentially you could show the cops in the future, but you can't show the cops if you're dead. So I go back and forth. Like, it's good to take videos, but you don't want to have your head in the phone in the wrong way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's why I was sort of struggling with dissecting it, because I don't think she really did a bad job at all, really. I just, little nuancey things. Like, I liked what you just said. You could go ahead and have 911 dialed up. Just didn't, don't hit the green button. You don't need it yet, but just have it. So all you got to do is tap it. I like the fact that she was videoing, because, if the worst case scenario would be evidence, which is a bad thing to think about, but you would have some evidence, but maybe that's a deterrent too. Whatever you can do to get this guy to leave you alone, I would scream at him, "Hey buddy, I see you, leave me alone." Use choice words, whatever you need to do, get loud, make a scene. Obviously, a lot of businesses are open 24 hours a day. I would start looking for like a Circle K or a 7-Eleven and try to get over there, or McDonald's. Go look for human beings. One last thing I wanted to say to your audience about that is, again, I don't want people to think that you should live in a state of paranoia, because you shouldn't. We're not going to live in a perpetual state of fear, but we are going to pay attention to detail. We're going to pay attention to our surroundings. So when you're out there running, I'm not saying every 10 seconds, but maybe every minute or so, just check your 6. If you don't know what I mean, that just means check behind you, look over your shoulder. That's very important. I think people don't think about that. That gets lost on people sometimes, and some people might think it's a little paranoid. No, I'm not saying do it 100 times, but like just check your surroundings, because a lot of times we forget. Just like in an airplane, sometimes your nearest exit's behind you, right? Well, your nearest threat might be behind you too. So.
Right. No, it's good advice. We got one last video. This is a cop breaking into a door or a house, a back room of a house, saving a child from a perpetrator that had a knife on him. Watch this.
Drop the knife. Bring the child out of the room. Hands right now. Let me see your hands.
You are going to get
Let
shot.
me see your hands right now. Let me see your hands right now. Let me see your hands right now. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Drop the knife. Drop it.
Wow.
Come on, baby. Come on.
He saves the kid. If you're listening and not watching, the cop shot the guy behind him, who was basically using his brother, it turns out, as a shield.
Yeah, that's horrible. My heart goes out to all my brothers and sisters in blue, because that is a very tough job, and you don't know what you're going to go into each night or each call. We don't really know what led up to that, other than how he knew there was a guy with a knife. Obviously, someone had called in, and maybe it was a family member or whatever. So I'm trying really hard to not criticize the police officer too much, because I think at the end of the day, the good guys won, bad guys 0. So that's a win. But if there's a guy with a knife, and he's I don't know the totality of the circumstances. So in the end of the day, the cop did a good job. He was using verbal commands. There's kind of a general rule in law enforcement that you ask, but you're not really asking. You're just asking. You're saying it in a nice way. So you ask, you tell, and then you show. He kind of got stuck in an OODA loop just a little bit.
Right.
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Google machine and look up OODA loop. You have to get out of that. You have to be able to act and decide. He did a good job. The whole thing was just a loser from the beginning, but at the end of the day, the little boy survived, and that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. Scott Bryson, thank you so much for being here for Tactical Detail. It was a lot of fun, as always.
Hey, thank you.
Of course, you can watch Scott on social media. He is Scott Bryson BTS. That stands for Beyond the Service. That's his podcast. He's a Silver Law contributor, former Secret Service agent, and we love his insights. All right, let's get into scrolling time. I've got time for probably 2 videos for you, and they're good reminders for my people living in New York to vote against communism and socialism. Not that we have too much time, but let's get into it. Quality of communism that I think a lot of these younger voters in New York City, maybe they don't know any better. So here's what they need to know from someone whose grandfather lived through it. Watch this.
Democrats want everything free. I work for it. I didn't get anything free.
This isn't even your country, though.
But I adopted it. I've lived in this country more than my own native country. So this is America is my home now.
You don't want to fly a flag out of Vietnam?
For what? They're communists now. You crazy? You don't want to sit in your ass and get the government and pay for it. I worked all my life, so now I have my pension. I worked for it. I don't get anything free. So you want to get something free, go to a communist country. Don't stay here.
This is a good point from so this is a Vietnamese grandmother who says, if you want free stuff, go move to a communist country. Don't turn the United States of America into said communist country. Go elsewhere for that free shit. And it's not working there, by the way. And a lot of these countries that they say, oh, well, you know, Denmark has this and Sweden has this and Canada has this. Okay, well, those countries are smaller than the United States of America. Those things are not going to work here for a lot of reasons. But it's a good reminder just to vote against communism. And then this other guy, if you could play 23, he was talking about his grandfather who grew up in Poland. And here's his experience with communism. Watch this.
My father grew up in socialism and like had to wait in line with a stamp card to get certain foods, and like how to this day, as a grown-ass man, he eats pineapples like by the handful, because when he was younger, you would get like one pineapple a year during Christmas time, and it was like his favorite thing ever, and now he gets unlimited access to pineapples. So it's like, capitalism didn't ruin them. They left for capitalism. They came here for capitalism, for opportunity. The way he explained it to me, it was like, it wasn't bad, you know, things were rationed out. It's corrupt. People were still corrupt. If you had more money, you got more shit, the same way it is, you know, basically everywhere. But there wasn't any opportunity. Like, you could get to a certain point in life, but then you couldn't advance beyond that point because there were barriers and there were social constructs in place that like stopped people from moving up. But then he moved here without a lick of English and was able to support and like his family, and then like build up a life here, and you know, buy a house and buy another truck and have something to show for his life, not just a card with some stamps on it. So
isn't that crazy? I love hearing these stories from people who grew up in communistic or socialistic countries, and they, you know, this story about, you know, basically stockpiling pineapple because he never got it. It just goes to show the little things that we take for granted living in the greatest country in the whole wide world, that we can go to the store and get pineapple if we want it. That's because we live in a capitalistic country and like I said, the greatest country of all time. And the thing is that Democrat voters that are, you know, voting for people like Zohran Mamdani, what they're not understanding, or really what they're not understanding is this guy's point about hitting this cap where you can only be this successful. There's no opportunity past this cap, right? Where like in Canada, for example, doctors don't make more than, you know, 150 grand or something like that. And then if you want certain coverage or you want certain care, then you bribe your doctors because they can't get paid more than this. So then you bribe them with iPads and phones and shit like that. I mean, the whole thing is corrupt. What he's saying, this is it. It becomes corrupt. People don't lose that drive to make more money. It just becomes corrupt. And what we're seeing with a lot of these Democrat voters, these younger Democrat voters, is they don't want billionaires and millionaires. They don't think that anyone should have that amount of money. So they're probably okay with having this cap, not realizing how corrupt it gets. So hopefully some of these voters see these stories of people who live in these kinds of situations in these countries, and maybe they learn a thing or two. But anyway, thank you for watching tonight and scrolling along with me. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. You can watch, of course, rumble.com/Hayley. That is where you can get to the Bongino Report channel and watch the show in full. If you've stayed this long, you already know that. But I appreciate everyone. And of course, you can listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The show goes up the night of, right after the live show. So you can stay tuned on social media at Hayley Caronia. In the meantime, I'm on X, I'm on Truth Social, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere except for Threads and Facebook. But I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.